I welcome you all to the fifth session of All That is Kerala. We've been having this as a small fireside chat, freestyling, chatting and discussing various topics that are relevant today. Mr. MP Joseph has been the key initiator for this whole series, who dreamt of this idea of having this talk series and basically talking and introducing the work of various thought leaders, discussing the work of various thought leaders and their challenges, their growth stories, and how they've overcome and come to the point where they are today. This time, we're having a chat with Mr. Bose Krishnamachary, who's artist, curator, thought leader in the field of fine arts, and of course, co-founder and director of the KMB, or the Kochi Biennale, which has been a major, mega event that everybody looks up to and aspires to in the art world and outside of it. I would like to say thank you to both of you on behalf of Kerala Museum and on behalf of City Book Leaders, and welcome you both to today's discussion. Over to you, Mr. Joseph.
Thank you so much, Aditi. That was a very nice introduction, but then I must confess that I am not the originator of this idea. It was Mohit who came up with the idea.
Right.
The only credit that comes to me is that I've been the chief chatterbox over the last, I've been chatting away to glory. Thank you so much for introducing me. Welcome, Mr. Bose Krishnamachary. Thank you for being on the show. Let me start off with my first question. You started up in 1993 and thereafter with this tremendous promise. Do you think you have fulfilled that early promise that you had as a young man? Because I believe you scored the highest marks in the JJ School of Arts till then, which is something, I mean, it's exquisite. I mean, I can't even. So three questions to start off with. First, which movie did you act in? Which form of dancing have you been, are you in? Have you been trained in that? And thirdly, do you think you have fulfilled that early promise you have had as a young man?
Thank you so much for inviting me to be part of this conversation with Mr. MP Joseph. Thank you, the Kerala Museum and book leader, city book leader. It's fantastic. Thank you so much. When I think about myself, I need to go back to, if I'm talking about 93, there are quite a lot, long way in some way that, I was born in a small village in Kerala. That little village, beautiful village called Mangatukara near Angamali. And I studied in a public school. And then as a desire or a dream to be a doctor, I took science as my subject. I was in Sri Shankaracharya College. Interestingly, I believe in destiny. As an artist, in my life, destiny played an important role. But this destiny is not blessed by God. It is my passion, my compassion, or my commitment and enthusiasm taken me to I touched with some friends. Age of 17, I fell for a long time. I was in hospital from age of 17 to around 2021, in and out of hospital. Those periods I gone through lots of magical moments, lots of thinking moments, and practicing moments. These period of time, I was in coma as well. So there was many times resurrected. So I am very much familiar about death. I lived, gone through that kind of period. So which also helped me to keep on working, keep on thinking. And that's the time I got into theater, very much interested in theater. Malayalam theater, but it translates the versions of absurd theater, most of the absurd theater, like Samuel Beckett's, Arnetsko, and all those kind of figures in Shankarapilla Sir and his play Tavalam. I used to act in those kind of things. To your question, in Malayalam movie, I haven't acted, but I acted in an English movie, which
Oh, wow.
which was produced by and directed by. Don't ask me the name of the movie. Okay, my memory is quite bad, and I really don't keep these kind of notes on things like that. Which was shot in one of my gallery space in Bombay. I'm not really, like as you, I'm an artist, curator. I've been collecting art, and also started this gallery with a couple of my colleagues. Not colleagues, I won't say colleagues. They are in the business field, like Yash Birla and Devanshi Mehta. Both were my partner. Devanshi's daughter, an artist, photographer. She said, why don't we put together a gallery? That's how it was originated. The idea in the center, Bombay's, it's one of the finest building in Mumbai. Around
it's also the biggest, isn't it? 5,000 square feet.
There are NGMA, but the private gallery, it was the biggest in that sense. 4,500 square feet space with and one awards also. Institutional awards for designing that space. So I had, I was working, I was partner with them for 2.5 years of time in 2008, 9, 10. That's the time, the Biennale talk we can come back to. So that's a place, the first shot of my film was happened. I was, I was the villain's brother. And brother runs a gallery, that's how I was part of that kind of
And
thing.
what is the form of dancing?
Dance, I studied Bharatanatyam when I was studying in, I was doing fine arts in a private school in Tripunithura. At the same time, I was in Kalapidam, and there is a teacher's training course kind of stuff.
Bharatanatyam, can you do a bit of dancing for us? Can you show a couple of mudras?
No way, I forgot. It was like my teacher was amazing. Kalamandalam Kalyani Kutiyamma, and her daughter, Kala teacher, taught me dance, Bharatanatyam, for some time. And I also had passion for music. I went to Kala Bhavan with Ravani master. I studied the flute. So these kind of crazy things, little. But this destiny, when you talk about destiny, in 1984 award from the Academy made my life a difference. Kerala Little Academy's first prize, one of the first prize. And one of my friend in Mumbai, he sent the prospectus. He's from my village, but lives in, he used to live in Bombay, and sent the prospectus from JJ School of Art. That changed my life. Then 85, I visited Bombay. Those days, Jayanti Janata, the train, 2 days journey, and living in a chawl in Andheri in Mumbai. That is also another great experience, like in this chawl, what kind of life. I have a lot of migrant Malayali friends and my cousin brother, 8 to 10 people in a small room, and it's public toilet. It's some kind of life. And 85, I didn't get admission in JJ because they said at the entrance examination, they said, you already an artist, you don't need to be here, you're an academy winner. Those kind of nonsense in a way that I feel that it was a kind of excuse, because Bombay was going through that period of regionalizing politics. So Bombay becoming Mumbai is after a few years of that period. So I arrived in Bombay, now it is Mumbai. But these kind of things are all being, it was also a kind of learning point, understanding the regional politics and things like that. 86, I joined in JJ, and JJ is also known for its abstract school of practices. If you talk about the art world in India, Baroda has a kind of school of thinking which is more politically expressionistic way. Most of the artists were studying in those period of time, and expressionism was one of the major stuff in those periods. And Kolkata, Shantiniketan, if we talk about it, it was also regional in some ways that Shantiniketan conceptualized by Rabindranath Tagore, and so it's a great location and great place. Even JJ School of Art is an amazing place.
You spend a lot of time in the canteen and JJ School, I believe.
Yeah, that's true. It's interesting.
That's so.
I really believe that a canteen or a cafe or a bar or a club is a great place for conversation. In the 19th century, beginning of 19th century, in French art or international art coming from France, most of the creative people, creative writers, creative performers, poets, all of them used to get together in clubs and they used to read poetry. In my case, in JJ School of Art, fortunately, the next door, I had architecture students and applied art students or commercial artists, art students, and then printing technology and fine arts. And it's also interesting to see that Kipling was born there, a great writer. Kipling's bungalow, it's there. So architecture is also interesting. Yeah. So the central part, I used to hang around. I used to finish whatever my teacher used to say, make kanda potato, I'll make immediately. And I was fortunate that I made skill. I'm a skilled artist. Maybe it comes from my father, it comes from my forefathers. I was born in a family of carpenters, or presently, if I say, I won't call them carpenters, I call them creative designers or something like that. I remember my father designed.
Jesus Christ was also born in a family of carpenters.
Yeah.
Christ was also born in a family of carpenters.
I remember,
so you're in very holy company.
I don't know about Christ, but I know about people.
You said you believe in destiny, but you don't believe in God. That's a contradiction, isn't it?
I used to be an atheist, but I don't follow atheism. I don't, get into make things more and more talking about rationalizing. But I give, if you believe in God, that's fine, but that's your business. But don't come with the idea of, obsession of God and goddesses. This is, I really observed in the international and national scene, global issues are all started from name of God and name of religion, name of caste, which is, every day to day life, you can see it. So I don't really, that obsession is not there. There is a liking, there is a loving space I have given to them. That kind of thing is there. Yeah.
I was asking, where do you place yourself? Where do you place yourself in relation to all the other great artists and painters of Kerala, Raja Ravi Verma, K.C. Panikkar, Hanai Kunyaraman, and so on? Where do you place yourself in relation to them?
I don't really care about all those things. I do respect the history, I know why, like most of the successful people, when I look at from Kerala, they're all moved on. If I was, like if they're born in Kerala, like Ravi Verma, and he developed his career in Mysore and in Baroda and different places in Bombay and things like that. So that moving around is very, very important. And all these three people you mentioned, all of them traveled, like K.C. Panikkar, when I look at him as a kind of important figure in contemporary Indian art, he played a very, very important historical part. He created the Choramandal Artist Village, which still an important location for, residencies and things like that. I think understanding craft and, living with the craft, idea of craft and, making money through crafts and creating art. This was a kind of almost like the basic concept to develop a residency was amazing. And he set it up in Chennai, not in Kerala.
You see, artists in Kerala have traditionally a very poor image. Bearded, smoking cigarettes, BDs, into drugs at times, unwashed, unbathed, dirty. They were always looked upon as hypocrites. But with you and with the Kochi Biennale, all that seems to have changed. Today, artists in Kerala are seen as something very completely transformed. How did this transformation take place?
Actually, a disturbing question in a way that, I believe that I consciously changed my ways of dressing myself, because I didn't want that hypocritical living. And I know I respected people like John Abraham, and even I have acted in one of his play called, he's not directed that, but Channaikal, Channaikal. It was really a political project, and we were very much in these kind of thinkers and practitioners. But I don't want people to follow such school of dressing up, or I'm not against people are taking I remember my my aunt, my grandma used to have marijuana or something like that. It's everybody's life. They used to have these kind of things in the early days. Everybody used to have tambaku and whatever. But I don't follow these kind of schools of, I don't encourage those kind of things.
I know the world of art very little, but I always see it as an outsider, as a very competitive world where man eats man. Is there a tremendous backbiting and jealousies in the world of art? How far is that my understanding of the world of art true? Is that true? Is there bitching, backbiting?
we should not be worried about all that. Who is worried? If you're worried about this, you cannot produce your work, you cannot create your work. I won't say produce. There is a kind of difference in between producing and creating. I think if you're a creator, of course, there are jealousy in this world. That's kind of huge world of power, money, and as well as backbiting and all those kind of things are there. But you should not be really worried about it. I think you should be sharing your moments with your contemporaries and the contemporary thinkers and practitioners in different fields. So that is what happened in the cafeteria of JJ School of Art. I used to meet with the incredible minds from different fields. And also I used to have that meeting with many artists in Mumbai, filmmakers in Mumbai, theater people in Mumbai, like Sanjana Kapoor and all those people, all friends, like Manikal's period. I used to spend time with, great architects like, Kapil Gupta or Nuru Karim. He was studying there, like Sudarshan Shetty studio, visiting Akbar Padamshi, Lakshman Shrestha, all these eminent artist studios, they were, what I liked about Mumbai is that, which I can say about Kerala, there was a kind of comparatively, if I look at it, Mumbaikars were really open to receive your thinking and time. They always shared their time with me. And they have given me so much of time where I could talk to them and things like that. But in Kerala, I had bad experiences when I wanted to meet a senior artist, very eminent artist. And usually you give, handshake if you see somebody, or namaste. I was showing my hands to this reputed artist, and he didn't, it was kind of that moment I felt that, he cannot be a good artist. He cannot be a good human being. I believe that, if you are a good human being, you can do, you have to be first, you have to be a good human being to be an artist. That's what I believe.
There's a question coming in from Francis George, and he says, the question is this: nudity is acceptable in Western art. Learning to draw the intricacies of the human body is a special category of art. How far has nudity been accepted amongst Indians as a form of art? I mean, is there a clear distinction between art and eroticism in Indian minds when it comes to nudity? That's his question.
It's a large subject, sir. It's a very large subject, okay. When we look at it, if we look at great architecture, temple architecture, Konark, and all those places, when you look at it, it's really, it's crazy ways of gestures in, sculpting, which that kind of nudity is not painted by any artist or an Indian artist. But you can see a lot of miniature work also there. There are, 19th century, 18th century miniature paintings, if you look at it, 17th century works. There are a lot of nudity, and that is also gods and goddesses were that kind of thing, unfortunately, look at the case of Mr. M.F. Hussain. I met him before he passed away. I met him in Dubai. He spent his time with at his studio. with other colleagues, artist friends, we visited his home in Dubai. And my colleague, my friend was, his son was one of my friend who was studying in JJ School of Art, 1 year senior to me, always Hussein, and all those people, I feel terrible that, he was misunderstood and he was almost like a thrown out of India and died other part of the world, which is, it's a shame that, a man who made Indian art internationally recognizable and things like that. And if I look at artists like, if uh, painting nudes, we have studies at college, like we need to look at a living model, a nude model and study. So there is a lot of difference, it's a kind of really subjective, it's a kind of pathetic mind. Some people have it, so they see it in such a way that nudity is wrong and things like that. I don't think as an artist, I don't think it's if it depends on the context, why we are making nudity or why an artist choose to use that kind of media.
Every time I see you with those huge glasses. It's often round, but today it's not a round glass. The glasses are huge, and most often they are so colorful, bright red, bright green. Is it to see the world in its colors better that you're doing this? And also, along with that, when I look at your paintings, my eyes shimmer. They are mostly psychedelic colors. Yeah. Do you see the world in psychedelic colors? I'm not an artist, so I see the world in black and white or occasionally a few colors. But you must be seeing it in psychedelic.
It can be very philosophical in a way. I believe that, extremities coexist in my life. Polarities, ambivalence, it's a kind of almost like a juxtaposition of that, like I was born in that beautiful village and came to Mumbai, this metropolitan place. It's almost like many universities in one place itself. That's the kind of Mumbai I given me life. But the strength comes from Kerala. I also, when going back to your, chashma or the glasses, I believe in design. I believe in everything has, everything got aesthetics. We need to find what are the aesthetics. I buy these kind of stuff because I think everything is art. I believe everything is art. So this is all collected from some of the museum shops, designed by architects or designed by fashion designers or painters or sculptors. The same way, like any costumes, at home also, I would say that, when I talk to students, all these kind of places, I say that, even if you're shaping up your beard, it's also kind of designing yourself. Or a friend of mine, if they shape up her eyebrow, it's also a certain kind of design, or aesthetically they are trying to develop themselves. So I think it's all part of it, sir. I don't really spend too much of time to buy something also.
No, sir, please do this.
But I keep on looking at good furniture, good lights. For example, this behind me, it's Artimide. It's one of the finest lighting company, produce very minimalistic light. So there is extremity coexist in my life, very colorful, maximum color, maximum texture, maximum lines, all those kind of things. But at the same time, I have produced works almost extremely minimal. The braille with the braille, it's a very minimalistic work.
You and Riaz Como organized the first 4 Biennales. You are co-founder along with Como. Now, Riaz Como. Now, where do you think the Biennale is going? The next Biennale is scheduled to be held on the 12th of December 2020, the 5th edition. Is it going to take place? Is it going to be a physical Biennale? Is it going to be an online one?
Question, sir.
Virtual art?
Yeah, it's an important question. We are also asking ourselves. Yeah. Asking ourselves whether it is possible. Fortunately, our curator, Shubhigi Rao, could travel around the world before the pandemic originated. And also, I wanted to go back in 2018, when this Nipah virus happened, like people were canceling their tickets and things like that. And again, that flood in 2018. we could do it. We could do an amazing project with that difficult period as well, with the help of the people. There are a lot of artists really hugely supportive towards the Biennale. They have given us artworks, and also our gallery friends from all around India. So there is kind of huge support come from not only from the state, but from other part of India and other part of the cultural world, from around the world, like Goethe Institute, Royal Bachelor, to USIS, to many organizations, like the embassies, cultural institutions, all of them are helping their artists to come here. And, so that association building we have done, really, I think we developed a kind of huge relationship and exchange program. Some of our artists are going to, for example, young artists from Kerala and other parts we are sending them to Australia. Some of the artists, we want to send them to France for educational exchange program with the Montpellier University. And there are a lot of students also coming to study Kochi Biennale, architecture students. And I've been meeting all kinds of students, so it's a kind of place for learning, site for learning. Kochi become almost like a kind of site for, learning. So yeah, there are many other. And this Biennale, I would say that in 2020 Biennale will make us a call in end of this month or something like that. We are looking at the situation. Is it possible to bring artworks from internationally, and how much time we have it? All those things we are discussing, but we'll make a statement by, very soon. Yeah, with the board's decision and
Thank you. A question I've always wanted to ask, Bose. Is it pronounced Biennale or Biennale?
Biennale is an Italian
I've never been sure.
It was
Rias Como pronounces it as biennial.
Biennale is an English word. 1895, the first edition of first biennale opened in Venice, 120 years ago. It was started as a kind of commercial thing. Then it became cutting edge exercises of contemporary art, cutting edge practices of contemporary art, later period. And, Havana, there are 320 biennales around the world. Our biennale is like one of the youngest biennale. It's also interesting to see with a small amount, compare it to, it is almost all the biennales are the spending, the city spend the money. And, here, our case, Chief Minister, Mr. Pinarayi Vijayan believes in this project, each and every, and we also work with each and every government, like Professor K.V. Thomas, Mr. M.A. Baby, when he visited Mumbai, that's the first time we started talking about the biennale. So that's originated in Mumbai. We planned it in Kochi because it's come from there. And there are many other people also wanted to start similar kind of, inspired from Kochi Biennale. Also, they have done projects in Goa and other places. So some of them failed to sustain. So I think it is important to have some kind of endowment to make it happen. So we are also raising funds through, sir. We are also raising funds. I'll put the fine into my raising funds place. That, Kochi Biennale.
Yes, absolutely.
Givindia.org. Givindia.org. We can contribute 250 rupees onwards, any kind of amount. And also you get 80.
I hope people are listening, please.
Yeah. Kochi Biennale.
I hope everyone is listening.
Givindia.org. We are in debt of almost 3.9 CR. Salary is needed to be given. Some of the vendors we have to pay the money. So help, yeah. So but still we going on with the
absolutely
ourselves. I remember Baby Sir said once that even if we sell our property, we'll make it happen. That is what happened, like people were always, I could call him, or people like him, always, 2 a.m., 3 a.m. We used to live in some places, wherever we traveled, small, homestays and things like that when we traveled. And work because we believe in this project, but don't take it for granted forever. That's what I want to say.
What you said, it appears as though COVID is for you an opportunity to look at, you said camera replaced, camera came in and art changed. So in a sense, COVID would be an opportunity for you.
COVID, actually, it was a time
Are you,
for, remunerating, I mean, it's almost like I gone back to, in the beginning, I thought it is going to be for 2 weeks or 1 month, so we used to play, chess with my son and cards with my family late evening. And then, sometimes we go through, my travel photograph or marriage photographs or something or the other. But I think, it is to your question, there are a lot of inventions, how you can rethink of this time. It's the keeping physical distance and social together, and how you can build that. And, we've been working with the digital world from 2012 onwards. In fact, the first digital temporary project was relayed by Google Art and Culture on Kochi Biennale in 2012. It was a post production of that. It is stitched it together, and they have relayed from, so you can check it out, 2012, 2014, you can see that digital walkthrough, 360-degree walkthrough of that. So it's kind of, we've been working with the digital world and video art. When we talk about video art, it is a digital practice. So I think it's kind of extension of what we have learned. So nothing is, I think, we adopt things, and there are augmented reality, 3D animation. It's all very much connected to architecture reading. It is very much connected to design prospects and applications, technology. These things should come together. I think, that's, so it is good that, it is happening, and, we have more conversations, more ideas, coming in this period of time. Yeah.
thank you. So I'll go to my last question, which is also a question one of my viewers asked. I don't have the screen in front of me, so I'm not able to say who actually asked that. But the question is, you must be an inspiration to a lot of young people. What do you have to say to young people, young artists, young painters? Not only painters and artists, but the young. I mean, you have your journey from Angamali, and today you are at home in the world. It's a tremendous journey in art, of course, but also in life. So what do you have to say to young people?
I think it is most important thing is if you're born in Mumbai. I used to tell my other students, friends, that, at least you move away from your, move away to Pune or some other place and study. I think, what is, you can't hear me?
Now I can, yes, thank you.
Yeah. So I think, wherever you're born, I think, keep little distance. If you really wanted to see some object or something beautiful, even for example, my palm, if I want to see, I have to keep little distance and I can see my palm. I cannot see my palm like this, right? So I think keep distance, whatever you love. And, I think it is very much important that if you are a painter, try to learn about other art forms as well. Accept as it is, see, walk, listen, travel as much as possible. Listen to people, give them, and you make cafeterias, you make bars, have conversations there. Conversations can give you a lot of, friends can give you some kind of tips. So sometimes the ideas originate like a kind of spark, So there is no planned thing. Please don't do too many plannings. Tomorrow, if you can't give surprises, there is no point in living. A great actor is always gives surprise in their every performance. A filmmaker is also like that. Every film is different. If they can make it, people say it is a surprise, magic to see those kind of films. So the same way, art making need passion, commitment, and enthusiasm. Enthusiasm, passion, commitment. All these three can, circle it or square it or something like that. But I think these points are important. I believe that commitment, respect history, respect time, and truth cannot be taught. It's like that, the art cannot be taught. Aesthetic cannot be taught, but it could be imbibed. It can be imbibed if you are open to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bose Krishnamachary.